I always like to start off by giving a quick overview of the financial aid office here at Missouri State University. And the reason why I like to start off with that is because you can schedule appointments with anyone in the financial aid office who may be a part of one of those teams. So if you have a loan related question, you can schedule an appointment with someone in the loan team so that you can get specific questions about your loan answered. That's not to say that they can't answer any questions. Like I can answer some general questions about loans, but if you really want some specific answers or information regarding loans or your FAFSA, things like that, you would definitely want to schedule with someone in that particular team to get that information. So going on with our presentation, um, I also like to go over the types of aid that you'll see like on your financial aid offer. So the first type is loans. So as many of you already know, these are funds that have to be paid back. Federal student loans may have a lower interest rate than some of the alternative loans you might get through Sallie Mae or your bank. So that is a good option for students who are looking to take advantage of the federal student loan program. We have grants. So these are funds that you do not have to repay, and mostly grants are dependent on the information that you fill out in the FAFSA. So this could be your Pell Grant, and for those who are Missouri residents, we have the Access Missouri Grant. And both of those grants are based off of the information you put into your FAFSA. And then last but not least, you have scholarships. So these are also funds you don't have to repay. Some are dependent on FAFSA. We do see some options for need-based scholarships, and they determine whether you qualify based off of your income level, and use that information from the FAFSA to determine who qualifies for that particular scholarship. So while you don't have to fill out the FAFSA to get a scholarship, if it's a need-based one that you're trying to apply for or be considered for, you're going to want to fill out that FAFSA so they have access to your income and your financial information for those purposes. So diving into where to look for scholarships, the first place you want to go is to the college or university that you attend. So here in Missouri State, you're going to want to look at our website. If some of you, when you were applying to Missouri State University, you may have been awarded a university or institutional scholarship. So that's the first thing that you would do is once you're looking for scholarships, that's the first place when you apply, we automatically award scholarship to you based off of your academic record, any kind of extracurricular that you may have been a part of, or some of our competitive scholarships, you may have been awarded that upon entry to the university. One scholarship that you can apply for ongoing throughout your college career is that foundation scholarship application. I always put a plug in for that application because we have over 1,200 donors, and we're getting new donors every month, I would say, who want to help out Missouri State students because they're either alum or they have some tie to university where they really want to give back to our university community. So that application is still open. It closes on March 1st, and you can access that in your My Missouri State account. So if you log in, click under the student tab, you should see a box that says My Financial Aid. And in that box, you'll see a link to the foundation scholarship application. If that's something that you're wanting to do and apply for, I always suggest you try to get that done before the March 1st deadline. We still have about 3 or 3.5 weeks left before that closes. The website has been known to crash when people are trying to get that application in at midnight on February 28th. So we have had problems with the website if you're waiting to the last minute to submit your application. So we always suggest if you can get that done by February 15th, which gives you, 2 week wiggle room for that deadline, we always recommend that. One other place to look will be local and national businesses or organizations. So I always tell students, if you already know what field of study that you're going into, if you already have declared a major and you have your career path already laid out, you're going to want to check for any professional organizations in that field to see what scholarships they offer. So I always give the example of, nursing. There's a lot of national nursing organizations out there, or national health related career organizations out there, which they offer scholarships for students pursuing the field. So you're going to want to just kind of look into what kind of organizations are in your field. You can talk to a professor, your advisor, someone in the department, because more than likely they may be a member of these various organizations and can direct you in the right direction on finding what organizations are out there and what funding they may or may not provide. Some other resources, and I actually want to show you a couple of these websites here in a second, are the myscholarshipcentral.org. So this website is for students who are Missouri residents. They offer scholarships or have listing of scholarships for students all over the state. Okay, so their target is Missouri students attending Missouri schools. So this is a good place for students to, make a profile, go in there and look at what scholarships are offered. There are some scholarships from various, maybe some high school that you may have went to in your, local area here in Missouri, or things like that. So you might want to, you really want to go in there and make a profile with that myscholarshipcentral.org website. Another one, which is more on a national scale, is Scholarship America. I came across this website when I first started working in financial aid, and I saw some checks coming in from Scholarship America. Never heard of it before. So I looked into it, and this is a organization where businesses, local organizations, national organizations utilize this agency to help process their scholarship applications and get that information out there to students. So it's a good resource. A lot of these websites are now starting to take applications for the next school year. So right now is a good time to start looking for scholarships, because a lot of those applications are opening up now and will have deadlines here later in February and into the next upcoming months during the semester. One thing that like students aren't really aware of are the community foundations. Our local one is the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. They offer a lot of scholarships, but there's also there's community foundations all over the nation. So even if you are not from the Missouri or Ozark area, recently I've did some research and I looked at a scholarship from the foundation around Dallas, Texas. Okay, and I looked on their website and I actually found a scholarship where if you were, in the medical field, or if you were an athlete, and you're going to a school, anywhere in the nation, they will give you a scholarship or whatever. The other criteria had to go with it. But just because, you're not from Missouri or from the Ozarks, your community foundation from where you're from, if you're not from here originally, may have scholarships that you can take to any school. So you do also want to check your local community foundation, and there's a website that I do want to show you how to locate those foundations. And of course, we all heard of FastWeb. I include it just because it's the most popular. The only thing about that is they do sell your information, so you'll get spammed, and your email account will get full of advertisements and things like that just to search for scholarships. An alternative to that is Scholly. It is a search engine where you have to pay for, but that's just because they're not making money off of selling your information to these different organizations and advertisers and things like that. So what I'm going to do now, I do want to show you the website that I was talking about in my presentation. So this is the Scholarship America website. So if you just type in scholarshipamerica.org, it'll take you straight to this website, and you can click on find a scholarship, and you can, it's right now showing 73 scholarships that they have open right now. So what I like about this website is they have the deadlines posted, pretty, right there. So even if scroll through, it might not be open now, or it might be open next year. You can put that date in your phone, have a notification, um, you know, remind you maybe a month or two before that deadline to check the website to see if it's open so that you can meet that deadline if you find that you have met that criteria for that particular scholarship. So you can sort by state, you can sort by, alphabetical order, things like that. So I really do like this website because it does have some good opportunities, not only for incoming students in the college, but also continuing students, because that's very important. So this next site is the Community Foundation Locator. So if you Google Community Foundation Locator, it'll take you straight to this website. So on here, you can see the nationwide map, and all of these blue dots are foundations around the nation. So here you'll see Community Foundation in Ozarks, is what I mentioned before. I went down here and played around. I found Community Foundation of Texas and Dallas is where I found that other community foundation, and they had that scholarship that you can take to any school that you go to around the nation. So you're going to want to check wherever you're from, check and see if you have a community foundation or local foundation, and see what kind of scholarships they offer for students pursuing a college education. And then this is the Scholarship Central website, so the myscholarshipcentral.org. And like I said, if you're a Missouri resident, excuse me, you're going to want to create a profile and start searching on here to see what scholarships they offer. And you can search by region also. Okay, so many scholarships are going to ask you to provide an essay. Nowadays, I've been seeing a lot of scholarships, they might request a video instead of an essay, or, some sort of, creative, um, you know, art or something that you can use artistically to communicate, you know, your worldview or whatever their question they're trying to get you to answer. So from my experience with scholarships, usually a lot of the essays and the requests for videos and things kind of gear around some of these same, topics or areas of um, that they're trying to get you to answer. So one has to do with your background and influences. So explain your experiences and how it shaped your worldview. So basically from your life and the things that you've done so far, how has this shaped your perspective on the world and your community and how you interact with others? And another one that you see common are social issues. So describe a global dilemma and suggest possible solutions. They want to see the problem solving. They want to see your thought process and how you go about finding solutions and solving problems. There's topics about your accomplishments. What makes you the best candidate for this award? And this is when you can brag on yourself. And I know it can be a little awkward to, write glowing things about yourself sometimes, but this is the time to do that when you're trying to grab the attention of the people who are awarding these scholarships. And then you also have, a category of academic and future plans. So how will your area of study contribute to your immediate and long career goals? It's also of, you might find questions on how are you going to impact this field of study? Like what can you contribute with your skill sets to this field of study? What kind of impact are you looking to have on this particular um, issue or this particular field that you're going into? So those are some of the common personal statement essay questions you might see out there. So I'm actually in the middle of reviewing for a scholarship now, and I have 284 essays that I have to read to determine who is going to be awarded the scholarship. So one thing that we always look for is, are the students answering the question? There are so many essays that I read where they're almost there, but they're not quite answering the question. And I guarantee you the ones who actually answer the question are going to rise to the top than the ones who, may not have proofread or actually went through to make sure they answered the question. So that's the first thing that, you want to make sure that you're actually answering the question. Is it written well? Is there correct grammar, spelling, and structure? I've been on scholarship committees where they saw a misspelled word and they have just they did not finish the essay anymore. They put it to the side, went to the next one. Okay, it really does depend on the committee and what they're looking for. It can be very subjective. And they try to make it more objective, but it kind of depends on who's reading the essay and what they're looking for, basically. I always tell students that you are unique, so make sure your essay, communicates, who you are. I know they say, you want to put something in your essay that grabs the attention. You can start off with a quote. You can, do things like that. But just make sure your personality kind of comes through, and that you're really communicating who you are in the particular essay, and now in some cases the video in which you might submit for these essays. Like I said before, this is the time to show off all your strengths. So, don't leave off anything. If you are into fencing and you think, oh, no one cares about me being a fencer, you might, um, be able to use that to say, hey, my experience with, fencing competitions has taught me this or whatever. Like is nothing that you do or you accomplish should be off limits. Hey, this is the time to brag on yourself and to communicate that you have all these things that you've done, these skill sets that you have attained and acquired, and how you can, you know, benefit the program that's offering the scholarship, or how the scholarship can help you realize whatever goals that you may have related to your future endeavors. I mean, this is the big thing, is the proofread. Um, you know, a friend, a teacher, a mentor, someone needs to read your essay other than you, just to check for grammar and spelling errors, and just to make sure that you are answering the question. Someone else can read your essay and give you that perspective of, did you answer the question? Some people say you might rewrite it maybe 2 or 3 times. But you do want that second opinion. Missouri State had the writing center, so you want to utilize your resources to make sure you have the best possible essay submitted for your scholarship. Some scholarships may require some additional requirements to award. So if they require an interview, a lot of interviews are virtual now on Zoom. We just had a presidential scholarship interview day that was all virtual. So we just want to make sure that, you just present yourself, um, as who you are, being yourself, dressing appropriately, and making sure that I mean, it's okay to reach out before your interview, ask questions, and say, hey, I just want to make sure I'm prepared for the interview. What kind of things are you looking for as far as a candidate, things like that. So you might want to, do more of your research and get information about the organization that's awarding, so you can be fully prepared for that particular interview. A lot of scholarships ask for letters of reference. Please give your reference request plenty of time to get their reference done. We always say at least 2 weeks um, is enough time to get a reference request in, so you can make sure you get that in before the deadline. And you always want to provide a description of the scholarship and or the organization when you do request a reference, so that the person who is writing your reference can best tailor it to accommodate to that particular scholarship or organization. And then thank you letters. I can't express enough of how far thank you letters can go. They're so rare now. You don't really get that thank you email or that thank you letter. Um, that it goes a long way. I know last year at the Presidential Scholarship Interview Day, um, out of we interviewed almost 200 students, and I think only three asked for the names of the committee who was interviewing them to send a thank you. That goes a long way, and I think that's often forgotten. Um, so if you can think of remember to submit thank you letters or ask for people's names, to send a thank you email or letter, that can go a long way. And don't forget your references, sending them a thank you also. Really quick, some final tips. Watch the deadline. Many students miss out on scholarships because they missed the deadline. And a lot of those deadlines are firm. So make sure that you are aware of the deadlines and that you get all documentation in by the deadline. Cast a wide net. You can't just apply on, just one scholarship and think that that's it. It's, we always tell students you have to approach it like a full-time job where, I'm going to set aside, 1 hour a day to search and apply for scholarships. And the more you apply to, the more likely you'll get a scholarship. We also tell students, if you think of it, if you, sat down, you apply for, 2 scholarships in that hour, and you've done that every day for a week, and you got a $500, scholarship. Well, in that 1 hour you paid attention to that one scholarship, you just made $500 in that hour. That's kind of a fun way to think of it. Um, so it does take time, it does take effort, and you have to approach it, strategically, where you're actually setting aside time to search for and apply for these scholarships. Um, we always say don't use the same scholarship essay for each scholarship you apply for, but also, you know, don't like throw out your scholarship and start your essay and start over either. I usually tell students from the categories that I went over earlier, if you make one large scholarship essay and you cover all the points in that particular, essay, you can just pull bits and pieces from it and go off of that instead of sitting down at the computer or with a pen and paper and like trying to start over from scratch. So having that one essay that covers a lot of the different common um, topics that they request for essays, having that there and you just pull from it and kind of tailor it to meet whatever question that they're asking, it'll be more efficient for you in applying for these scholarships.